Hello everybody. Alright, so this is going to be our fourth video and the final one for our game. Okay, so after last night, you've had all last night today to work on it, talk about it, get frustrated, throw it in the trash, whatever you've been doing. I know for us here, we've sat down and did a lot of talking, a lot of writing, a lot of figuring things out, realizing where our problems as far as gaps in our preparations are concerned, and trying to make plans to set up a 1 year plan for us to have things ready. If something was to happen within that year, we'll be better off than we are today. But we kind of set a goal for ourselves to kind of have some of this stuff done. So I've received a lot of responses from people so far, people that are playing the game, having a good time with it. So I'm glad to hear that. Keep up good work on that. Now, so our last video, we moved into that 90-day to 6 month period. Put us in about the middle of June. So the last video is going to put us from the 6 month period to the 1 year. Okay. So that's going to take us from the middle of June back around to where we are. So not June, September. I'm sorry, September. It's going to take us from September back around where we are in March. Okay. So your 90 day to 6 month, we were discussing up from June up to September. That's where I got myself confused, so sorry about that. So that covered the summer months, and of course trying to deal with that problem, right? Okay, so starting at the 6 month period to the 1 year period. All right, so let's start with the bug out people. You were given a couple options to come back towards society if you were staying out in the wilderness. So what choice did you make? How are you surviving? Okay, most tents, if you had tents, were not meant to be lived in permanently, right? Unless you just happen to have one of those safari, 4-season tents in your home, around your home. So you probably see a lot of wear and tear on your gear being out there in the wilderness. Have a lot of problems with food, which is just going to get worse after that September, going through the winter. All right. So I want you to think about that. Your shelter choices. Also, while you're at it, what are you going to do for the winter, right? Out there in the wilderness, you've not had any opportunities to store food, make any sort of long-term plans. So what are you going to do when the winter hits as far as food, shelter, warmth? Okay. For my bug in people, my stay-at-home people, kind of the same situation now, isn't it? A lot of us live in modern type homes that don't have fireplaces. Or if you have a fireplace, it's probably a really good chance it's one of those that's set up just to burn the gas logs and doesn't have a real chimney. And the first time you try to light a wood fire in that, you're going to have a mess in your hands. So my bug in people, my stay-at-home people, what are your plans to get through the winter? Okay, how are you going to heat your area? There again, how are you going to heat it and cook? Did you make plans to put food up? Right? Did you have a garden? Are you putting food up? Or are you storing food? How are you storing it? How are you canning it? How are you processing it? Right? So that, like I said, from that 6 months to the 1 year period, it's going to put us through the winter, the hardest part of the winter too. Okay, so that's one of the concerns is going to be that. Now, going back to the research that I was doing on an EMP attack for United States, we were using some pretty horrific numbers. It just gets worse. In the research that I was reading, 1 year after an EMP attack, can you see that? 1 year, it's estimated that the United States would lose 75 to 90% of the population of the United States. That's 220 to 270 million people will have died by the end of the year. And the first part of the year, of course, would be to death, starvation. Middle part of the year was going to be to heat, exertion, dehydration, starvation. And the last part is going to be to mental breakdowns, dehydration, exposure, and starvation. Okay? And I know there's lots of things in this we could have done a little more detail to. I had somebody, asking about, batteries not working, or responding about that battery's not working, that kind of thing. And there's a lot of things we didn't want to get into detail. We didn't have to focus on certain areas for radiation and fallout and things like that. So just focusing on this. But you can think about that as well. If you live in near a large metropolitan area, Charlotte, North Carolina, Tallahassee, Dallas, Fort Worth, New York, Boston, St. Louis, Denver, Colorado, okay, those areas would be targeted in that type of attack. So then you would have a fallout issue, okay, and damage from the actual explosions. So if you want to if you want to work on it on your own and work it into your game, by all means go ahead. I'm really hoping that a lot of us sat down seriously and looked at this and saw not only the gaps that we had in our preparation, but ways to fix it and not just give up. The whole point of this is not just to give up. It's to go, oh crap, I didn't think about that. A prime example we had here, a discussion we had here, was that we need a smokehouse, right? Best way to preserve meat. Preserve meat like that for, centuries before refrigeration. So I'm thinking, well, that's a trip after the power goes out to a home center, Lowe's or Home Depot, in the middle of the night so nobody sees us, dragging home wood and nails and stuff and building a smokehouse in the backyard, the dark of night so the neighbors don't know what we're up to. And my daughter and wife goes, you're an idiot. The freezers don't work, the power's out. We can make a smokehouse out of the freezer. I'm like, that's genius. We've seen it done on one of the shows we watched. So, there again, that's working with what you have on site, isn't it? Okay? Yeah, if that was the case, I'll sacrifice the freezer to build a smokehouse, to be able to preserve meat to eat later. You follow me? So don't just think inside your little, oh my God, I don't have enough food. I don't have enough of this, I don't have that. What do you have in your home that you can repurpose for something else? There again, repurposing a chest freezer, a deep freezer into a smokehouse. All you do is build a firebox. It's a genius idea. And like I said, and I was thinking, I need wood, I need planks, I need nails, I need concrete and blocks and blah, 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 this. So that's one of the things we discovered talking to each other about this was repurposing things that you already have. Okay, so there you go. 6 months to a year. How are you going to keep warm? It's going to get colder than hell, right? What are you going to eat? There's going to be no food growing. So you had your opportunity to grow and harvest and store, can, preserve food. So in the winter, do you have enough? Okay. There again, what are we going to do about all the dead bodies? If you live in a metropolitan area, they're piling up like cordwood, right? So as gruesome as those details are, it's this last part is where we actually lose the most people, okay? And it's because of the exposure, the final give-ins to dehydration, dysentery, diseases, okay? If you look at your history, cold and flus don't go away during the summer. Cold and flus are not caused by cold. Cold and flus are caused by being stuck inside together and passing that shit around. So you're stuck at home with no medicine, somebody comes down with the flu, it's going to be like having a plague in your house, okay? So you got to think about that. Do we have a place to isolate our sick so the rest of us don't get sick? How are we going to take care of the sick? Do you have books on hand on home remedies, how to make home remedies, what are good herbs to have? Did you grow herbs in the summer? Okay, lots of things to think about for the last 6 months. So everybody's playing the game. Everybody plays the game during the week. Send me what you found out. We're all going to die within 3 months. Okay, if that's what you feel, then why do you feel that way? Go ahead and send me all the information if you would. Next week's video will be after I compile all this, and we'll talk about that. You know, family A said they got no problem, they'll survive it. Family B said we're all doomed, we're dying in 2 weeks. You follow me? So go ahead and send me that information if you would, please. I won't use your names if you don't want me to. I'll just use it so that everybody else in the group can see different versions of the game, and not just my own, and not just the wife's, because she's playing separately from me. Okay, we got two different things going on. We're comparing notes now, but we got two different things going on here. Okay, and I'm glad we do, because I never would have thought about using a damn freezer for a smokehouse. Okay, so you know, think outside the box. What can I repurpose? How am I going to survive the last 6 months? Okay. All right, guys, that's it. This is the last video for the game. I hope you've had as much fun with it as we have here at Stanley Manor, and the people that have been responding so far have been very positive. You know, and most everybody has the same sort of thing going on. The first month, the second month, after that, shit gets iffy. Well, it's going to get iffy, right? We can't see the future. It's about making plans. Right now, it's about playing the game and seeing what you can accomplish with what you have. Okay? All right, I'll see y'all next week. All right? Uncle Steve loves you. Wants to be safe and happy. Bye.